Thank you, Mr. Brown. 37th, in state per pupil spending. Is that ranking acceptable to you? If not, how do you propose to raise Virginia's ranking?
My question would be, in response, does that ranking represent full funding of the educational needs of the Commonwealth of Virginia? I suspect that it does not. Therefore, funding of education at all levels, in my judgment, has to be restored till it is full funding of the educational needs. The GOP, and including my opponent's website, promise to strive for 65% of the education budget to be devoted to classroom teaching. 65% of what? If it's 65% of not enough, then not enough will be devoted to classroom teaching. There's no reason to believe that 65% is a magic percentage, even if you knew what they were proposing the total budget to be. There are certain things that you need in your education budget in one part of the state just based on weather conditions that you don't need somewhere else. So to say, well, 65% fits every possible budget level and every possible set of specialized, unique needs is misleading at best. How are we going to restore the funding? That, again, requires a series of cost-benefit analyses. But in my opinion, budgeting, the budget for education needs to be restored, and it needs to be restored soon.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Would you support a moratorium on business taxes and fees for a defined length of time if the business, new or existing, hire additional employees?
I would support a well-defined, easy to understand and apply tax credit for increased employment. I would not support forgiving all of the tax liabilities of the business simply because they were hiring more people. Tax policy as when you use it for anything other than to generate needed revenue, no matter how noble your objectives might be, you end up with the mess that is the Internal Revenue Code. People say they want a flat tax. I'll tell you how to have a relatively flat, but certainly a relatively simple income tax computation for yourself. Just ignore all of the itemized deductions, all of the tax credits, all of the special deals that you get if you do something that Congress thinks is a good thing to do. Just take the standard deduction, don't take any credits. It'll take you about 6 minutes to fill out your tax return, and you'll pay several $100s more than you would have to. But it would be simple. I think there's enough complexity at the federal level that we need to look very carefully at adding to that complexity at the state level. I'm not convinced that the relatively low marginal rates that Virginia has on all taxpayers, I'm not sure that the benefit of a tax credit will outweigh the cost of administering it and complying with it.
Thank you, sir. The residence by choice. Virginia is the residence of choice by many of our nation's veterans. As we approach Memorial Day, please share, as a veteran of the armed forces, any relevant issues you expect to face as a delegate.
One of the things that I found received from the State Veterans Office in ensuring that he had taken advantage of all of the federal veterans benefits that were available. That was a great service to him in his final years, and it was a comfort not only to him, but to myself and my sister. So to the extent that those sorts of really quite informal ad hoc services are provided by the staff of the State Veterans Office, that sort of thing should be encouraged and continue. I received one of those forward this to your friends emails today that listed a number of freedoms that we enjoy because people who are veterans, and sometimes that are deceased, people who are veterans ensure that we are able to enjoy them. So I have great respect for veterans. I have great respect for people who volunteered to put their lives on the line to defend our country. And I would do everything I could personally and as a delegate to make sure that those veterans are not only honored, but that they get the support and resources that they're promised by state and federal law.
Thank you. To outsource state government IT services to Northrop Grumman. Why or why not?
Well, it's easy to look after the fact and say, well, no, I wouldn't support that. In theory, information technology ought to be one of the ways that outsourcing would work because IT expertise is quite expensive, and if you can get those IT services provided by someone who can spread their costs, their fixed costs in particular, across a lot of different clients, then your cost ought to be lower. That, in theory, is one of the areas I see where the potential for outsourcing, and even though the outsource provider is going to make a profit, it's still the cost ought to be lower to the state. But here is my personal experience. I've worked at, taught at Longwood University for 23 years and Virginia Commonwealth University for 3 years, and here's my experience with systems development projects in the Commonwealth of Virginia, in state government. They don't even start out doing it right. Any of you are IT systems development people, any of you who have experience in IT systems development project, know, even if it's only intuitively, the first step in such a project is to find out what the user's needs are. And to the best of my knowledge and experience, the Commonwealth of Virginia does not do that, no matter what the scale of the IT project. And I would be willing to bet significant money, $20 or $30, that Northrop Grumman didn't do that because the Commonwealth said we gotta bring this in at low budget. She said stop, so I had to stop.
As a prospective delegate and former college professor, how do you assess higher education's increasing costs? I think this means for the parents, for the kids that are going to
the cost of going to college.
Yeah.
Well, the cost of sending your child to college is going up because financial support from the state government is going down. I'm serious. Every time I turn around, the budget's being cut.